So people are afraid when you mention God or religion because they think it will restrict them from being who they naturally are, pursuing their personal goals or desires. But one of the most beautiful things I find about the teachings of Rupa Goswami, especially as it's elucidated in the Nectar Devotion or the Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is that he takes all the various emotions, even emotions we consider negative, like anger, confusion, etc., and he shows examples of transcendental versions of those emotions. And so what I'm getting at here is, through the teachings of Rupa Goswami and Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we find an all-encompassing approach that dovetails everyone's natural propensities and emotions and transcendentalize them in the pursuit of one's natural, true identity as lovers of God. And so in the world today, especially as I speak today in mid-2020, in America at least, we find there's a lot of chaos going on, racial identity issues, sexism issues, political tensions between government and the governed, economic issues, all these crises, and the whole transgender thing, the sexual identity thing, and it's almost being used as people perceive it as a weapon against them or a weapon for them, etc. But when we take the teachings of Rupa Goswami and Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we find that all of that washes away and almost becomes meaningless when, once again, using the term transcendentalizing things, when you understand that, okay, people are locked into this body. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm black, I'm white, etc. But the fact is our true identity is we are all feminine to the Supreme Lord, the Supreme God, Krishna. And so basically, and then the same thing with this whole racial thing. Once again, if you take the teachings of Rupa Goswami, it's meaningless because all of us are exactly the same on the transcendental level. And no matter who we are in these bodies at this time, we might be the opposite in the next life or in the past life. And so for me, as someone who was raised with this, it's almost a no-brainer, but still, I have my own illusions and I'm naturally locked into this body and mentality, but still subconsciously I have an understanding. And so sometimes when I go here and there and interact with the world at large, I'll make a little joke. And the other day I made a joke, and I came in somewhere and for an appointment, and I guess someone else had an appointment around the same time, and they're like, "You're not Stephanie." And I just looked at him and said, "No, not this life." And the whole place burst into laughter because that's a great answer. And for me, I'm just like, I didn't want to get into it philosophically, but I'm like, yeah, for all I know, it's the truth, So it's really liberating. And like I was speaking with Hari Vilas Prabhu, who I'm so grateful to. I'm actually speaking here from his farm, New Goloka in Washington. And at least in summertime, it's a great example of Krishna conscious self-sustainability. He has 7 cows and goats and a farm, all organic, and I'm getting to see firsthand an example of living with the land, in harmony with the land, but in a relationship with Krishna. So I'm here speaking from this place, and we were speaking about the fact that if the whole world were able to access the teachings of Rupa Goswami, then every problem we have, social, economic, political, racial, sexist, whatever, would dissipate, because it's such a liberating understanding. So it is through the teachings of Rupa Goswami that we understand that we only need to dovetail our natural tendencies and emotions and personalities in the service of the Lord. Basically, a lot of other religions, they create this distance between the individual and God, and this idea that we're so far from Him, or that God is so mysterious that he lacks personality. But we have the opposite approach with the teachings of Rupa Goswami. Basically, what we need to do is empty ourselves of our selfish motivations and become selfless and allow ourselves to become a vessel. And we need to empty ourselves of our selfish motivation and let ourselves become vessels for the will of God, Sri Krishna.